Good evening, everybody. We are so glad you're here. Welcome to the 6th Annual Heroes of Character Celebration. My name is Ty Bradshaw. I am the voice of the Hamilton Joes, a baseball club here in town, and so glad to be with you tonight, and so glad that you're here at this particular event. Folks, we live in very interesting times in a very interesting world. We live in a world where people, rather than talk to one another about their problems, will turn to Facebook and post anonymously. We live in a world where fighting seems to be the only way to communicate. Folks, we live in a world where a girl who goes on Dr. Phil and says, "Cash me outside, how about that?" can get 34 million views on YouTube and will probably be richer than anybody in this room. You being here tonight matters. You being here tonight getting this recognition matters. And all of us being here together as a community matters, because we're standing up and we're speaking out against that type of society, and we're bringing character to the forefront. That's why I'm so glad to be here with you tonight, along with so many others. To begin, we will have our color guard presentation and invocation. The City of Hamilton is proud of its combined Hamilton Fire Department and Hamilton Police Department Honor Guard. The Honor Guard appears at many special events and parades all throughout our community. The Honor Guard is led by Deputy Fire Chief Jeff Shaw and includes Jared Gunler of the Hamilton Fire Department, Mike Coleman of the Hamilton Police Department, and Mike Thacker of the Hamilton Police Department. As a special note, Police Officer Mike Thacker was just recognized recently by the Hamilton community and local media for assisting a wheelchair-bound military veteran who was having difficulty navigating his wheelchair on the snow-covered sidewalks of our city. Officer Thacker saw the gentleman struggling and pushed the wheelchair-bound veteran to his destination through our streets. All of our men and women in uniform deserve special recognition, but especially on this night where we're honoring character, Officer Thacker, we thank you for your service to our city. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise as the Hamilton Fire Department and Hamilton Police Department Honor Guard present tonight's colors.
Honor Guard, Hudson, who? Right shoulder, first. Gotta go right, ace. Over, out. Hard time, hard. Detail. Halt. Right. Ace. Prepare to post the colors. Forward. Out. Ready. Move. Detail, right, ace. Our time, out. Our time, out. Detail, halt. And ace. One step to the rear, ready, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the Pledge of Allegiance and tonight's invocation, please welcome the pastor of the Presbyterian Church, John Lewis.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Almighty and everlasting God, we are humbled to be in your presence tonight. All through history, there have been heroes of old who sacrificed so that others could live more blessed lives. we give you praise and thanks for the heroes of character that we honor this evening. All of them wonderful people who never called any attention to themselves or wanted anything or any attention, but who quietly went about touching the lives of so many, wanting to only make this world a better place. May they continue to inspire each and every one of us. We ask that you would bless the words of our speaker this evening, Clyde Gray. And we give you thanks for every sponsor who has given so generously to make tonight a reality. We thank you for this wonderful meal that has been set before us, and we ask that you bless this time of fellowship. For we pray in your holy name. Amen.
It is my pleasure, before we serve tonight's dinner, to welcome our honorary chairpersons, Kim and Bonnie Nuxall. Kim Nuxall is a graduate of Fairfield High School and Miami University. He is married to his lovely wife, Bonnie, with 3 grandchildren. Bonnie's a retired elementary school counselor and teacher from the Fairfield City School District and serves as secretary for the Joe Nuxall Miracle League Field Board of Directors. Kim is a retired physical and character education teacher who spent 32 years at Central Elementary in Fairfield. Kim is the volunteer executive director of the Nuxall Foundation, which is comprised of the Joe Nuxall Scholarship Fund, the Joe Nuxall Character Education Fund, and the Joe Nuxall Miracle League. He and Bonnie actively supervise each of these initiatives. The Joe Nuxall Scholarship Fund is now in its 33rd year of providing annual $2,000 scholarships to all 14 Butler County high schools. The Joe Nuxall Character Education Fund was founded by Joe in 2003 with the sole mission to increase the development and awareness of character to help create a more respectful society. The Joe Nuxall Miracle League, which opened in 2012 and currently serves nearly 1,000 special needs children and adults annually, ages 4 to 72 years old, provides a safe, rubberized field to enjoy the great game of baseball, just like Kim's father always did. In addition, Kim volunteers his time to help operate the Reds Rookie Success League of Butler County, now in its 11th year, serving over 300 children annually all over the county for a character-building baseball camp. Kim and Bonnie Nuxall have really set the standard for what it means to be heroes of character. We're honored that they've joined us here tonight, and I will say, on a personal note, I have the privilege and the pleasure of serving on the board of directors with the Miracle League with Kim. I can't look at him because if any of you have ever been to an event with Kim, you know he cries, and I cry when I see Kim cry. So I'm just going to look at this side of the room. Y'all are lovely. This is great. My father passed away tragically in 2013. And as time moves on, sometimes people go back to their lives, but the individuals who suffer from loss never really get back to life as it normally is. And as time moves on, dates become just dates on the calendar. Kim Nuxall, on the anniversary of my father's death, on his birthday, on my birthday, on Father's Day, is always one of the first people to email me, to call me, to check in and see how I'm doing. He and Bonnie are individuals like none other. They're people that I have come to know and come to love, and it's a pleasure every time I get to introduce them, but especially at this event. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim and Bonnie Nuxall.
Whoa. I did not plan on crying tonight, Tyler. Like, I'm going to be strong. It's a character event. There's so much I want to say. You're probably looking at the most obsessive character educator around. It's just something I believe in so strongly. There's nothing really that changed my teaching career more than incorporating character in the elementary. I was very fortunate to have the job I did. I got to teach 500 little elementary students each week. I got to see every one of them. I got to see many of them start out in the first grade and had them for 4 years and see how really teaching character impacted their lives. And I know the impact it can make, and that's why I believe in it so much. I think of what it's done for me, Certainly had a last name that was recognizable, but really that doesn't mean anything if I was a bad person. Same thing with my dad. The impact Dad had on everyone else and vice versa. I was so fortunate to grow up and and experience so many things with Dad. And I think the number one thing is just how you treat people. I always looked at Dad's life and summed it up that he always looked up to everyone. He never looked down on anyone. No one was below him. I don't care what position, what they did for a job. It didn't mean anything to him. He really, I think, embraced, when I think of character in our society, and it's a shame we don't bring up Martin Luther King's quote about, looking at people from a character perspective. Let's stop looking at them from, what party they're associated with, what religion, what color of their skin. It's the kind of person they are. And I think about the people that tonight are being recognized. I haven't met any of you, but I already know good things about you. I already know you're a respectful person. I already know you're kind. I already know you're caring. I already know you work hard. I already know you're responsible. I already know you're going to make a difference in society. And that's really the bottom line. It reminds me of the last thing I would tell my students is, when I see you in 10 or 15, 20 years, I'm really not interested in how much money you make, how big your house is, what kind of car you drive. I'm glad you're doing well, but I really want to know what kind of person you are, what kind of person you became. I think that's the bottom line in our society, and I honor all of you. It is our honor to be here, Bonnie and I, to be a part of this event. And I just can't tell you how strongly I feel about that. So again, thanks for having us, and keep up the wonderful work you're doing in the community. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome the chairperson of the Character Council of Greater Cincinnati, ladies and gentlemen, Gary Lee.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Character Council of Greater Cincinnati, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all of you for attending our 6th annual Heroes of Character celebration this evening. Thank you for joining us to honor these deserving individuals. It is indeed a privilege to recognize and to celebrate these outstanding youth and adult leaders whose stories of perseverance, service, and generosity are an inspiration to us all. We also wish to thank our sponsors who are listed in your program. Without their support, this event would not have been possible. To our heroes, you are an inspiration in a world that is often harsh and unkind. We thank you for the high standards of character with which you choose to live your lives, demonstrating qualities that promote and encourage good character in our homes, our schools, and our communities. To our students of character, you give us hope for a bright future that we are very, very proud of you and the potential that you represent. And now a few words about the Character Council, which was founded in 2000. The Character Council of Greater Cincinnati in Northern Kentucky is devoted to promoting good character in order to improve the lives of our residents and enrich the spirit of our community. Our mission is to foster character development in children and adults as a foundation for success. We promote 49 positive character qualities and estimate that the council has touched over 800,000 people with our positive character messages that go out each year. We provide free character building resources to over 1,000 educators each month, which are used by schools in Southwest Ohio and Southeast Indiana, influencing over 52,000 students in their development of positive character traits to help them reject such things as bullying, violence, and drugs. The Character Council also champions character education in Ohio and Kentucky by sponsoring the State School of Character Awards. We promote a character-based business environment as we work with regional businesses advocating character awareness through training programs that promote integrity, leadership, and effective communication. Finally, we are working in 3 areas to establish communities of character in which businesses, education, the faith-based community, the government, and the media all work together to set high standards and to promote and encourage good character. The Character Council relies on countless volunteers to keep this positive work moving forward. And at this time, I would like to recognize some of those volunteers. And as I introduce them, I would ask for them to stand and remain standing. It's my pleasure, first of all, to introduce to you the Board of Directors of the Character Council of Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. Would the board members please stand? I would also like to give special... Now, while they remain standing, they are joined by other community leaders throughout our region. A special thanks go to our Heroes of Celebration Development Committee this evening, who put together this wonderful event, which of course was co-chaired by Hamilton's own Steve and Mark Lippert. Steve and Mark, thank you very much. And of course, recognizing our honorary chairpersons, Kim and Bonnie Knoxall. Thank you so much for your participation. I would also like to introduce the Westchester Liberty Community of Character Coalition under the leadership of Kathy Baxter, and our Southeast Indiana Community of Character Coalition under the leadership of Mary Andress Russell and Nancy Ray. And of course, where would we be without our City of Hamilton group, who is also functioning as our host team for this year's celebration under the leadership of Steve Lippert and Mayor Pat Moeller. As I close, I would like to take a final moment to recognize a very important person to the Character Council of Greater Cincinnati. Mary, would you come on up for us, please? You know, organizations succeed because of the commitment, dedication, and hard work of its members. Tonight, I would like to recognize such a person within our own Character Council. Mary Andress Russell joined the Character Council in 2001 as a volunteer and trainer. In 2003, she assumed the responsibility of executive director, serving in that capacity until December of 2016. Over the past 15 years, Mary has worked tirelessly in promoting our movement, training our business and community leaders, and coordinating the efforts with school systems throughout the region. Mary's career development has taken her in a different path, and although she has had to vacate her position as the executive director of the Character Council, she still remains active in the council as a member of our board and also as a volunteer. So it gives me great pleasure, Mary, come on up, to recognize Mary Andress Russell for her 15 years of dedicated leadership and services in fostering character development throughout Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, and Southwest Indiana. Thank you so much, Mary, for all your work. Would you like to say a few words?
Oh, gosh. Thank you so much. What an honor. I am just so thrilled that this event carries on. Thank all of you for being here. We started this, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And we started at the Montgomery Inn with just a few, maybe, 100, 125 people. And to see it grow to this level, it just makes my heart so proud. So it has been such a pleasure working with all of you. I don't know all of you in this room, but I know at least half of you. And what an honor it has been. It has been my life's work, to do this work, and it's time for me to, to leave it to others. And so I'm so grateful to be honored. So thank you.
And now I would like to turn the event over to Steve Lippert, our Heroes Celebration co-chair.
Thank you, Gary. And first, I just want to affirm the award we just presented to Mary. Mary has worked with our committee for about 18 months and planted the seeds of us hosting this dinner tonight. So thank you again, Mary. I would be remiss. I want to begin and first congratulate all the heroes of character that we're going to honor tonight. This is quite an event, and we are just delighted to be able to celebrate character and honor you folks for your high standards that you live out every day. Secondly, I do want to thank the committee, the Greater Cincinnati Character Council, for partnering with us for this event. We couldn't have done it without them, and so we're grateful for them, and also my co-chair, Mark Lippert, who is a member of their board. And third, I want to thank our City of Character from Hamilton. Our committee has worked for about 15 months on this event, and it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. And this month, the word or the character trait of the month is enthusiasm, and our committee exudes enthusiasm. You guys rock. Please stand. I want to recognize all of you. Everybody on the Hamilton City of Character Committee. And finally, a brief word on how the Hamilton City of Character came into being. Back in 2012, the Hamilton City Schools were recognized with the National School District of Character Award after then Superintendent Janet Baker had committed to many years of character education in the school system. And actually, Janet was an honoree at the 5th annual event held a couple years ago. Shortly after that, two Miami Hamilton students, Kofi Ansah and Sean Qureshi, became concerned about the lack of civility on their campus. And their energy, combined with the guidance of Dr. Bob Rusbosson, who was since retired, led to the creation of Project Civility. And one of Project Civility's first endeavors was the creation of a panel of Hamilton citizens, and I'm going to read their names because they're like the founding fathers here. Dave Ballou, Cindy Dingledine, Derek Howard, Chrissy Hunselman, Paul Toms, Pat Muller, and Don Ryan. And they were addressing the question of civility and character at a downtown forum titled Civility in the Community. And this forum inspired our mayor, Pat Muller, to create the Hamilton City of Character Committee, and he did that in April of 2014. So we're late to the party here of character, but we're delighted to be here. So since then, we have been promoting good character throughout our 4 pillars. And our 4 pillars are schools, businesses, government, and the faith community. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership, and I think we should all recognize our mayor, Pat Muller. So as a rookie doing this kind of event, I want to apologize that we're off schedule. It's on me. It's not Tyler, much as I've pushed Tyler. So Anyway, I don't think we're going to even get back on schedule. But anyway, I think the celebration is worth it. So we'll carry on. Thank you.
He's not giving himself enough credit for all the work he's done for this. Let's have another hand for Steve Lippert. Great job. Our keynote speaker for tonight's event is Clyde Gray. And I am totally geeking out because I used to watch him on TV, and now he's sitting at my table, and I'm reading his bio. This is awesome. Might not be for you, but it is for me. So, whoo! Pull it together, Bradshaw. You got this. All right. Clyde Gray has told the stories of daily life in 3 communities over a 37-year career as a television news journalist. He started as a reporter in Winston-Salem, North Carolina in 1977 after interning there from Wake Forest University. In 1979, WLWT in Cincinnati, Ohio hired Gray. In 1990, WCPO hired Gray to anchor the evening news and work with its investigative reporting unit, the I-Team, which won the prestigious DuPont Award. Gray also won regional Emmy Awards and the Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Newscast. Gray retired from broadcasting in 2014 and runs Blackboard Marketing, which he founded. Ladies and gentlemen, Clyde Gray.
Thank you, Tyler. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for that very warm welcome. I very much appreciate this opportunity to be here with you this evening. I have met some truly wonderful people here in the city of Hamilton, and I'm not surprised because that's the kind of community you are. So give yourself a round of applause. It has been interesting meeting many of you for the first time. The things I hear, I find interesting. Some of you call me Mr. Gray. It's like, am I that old? Actually, yes, I am. Some of you have pointed out to me that I'm tall. Some of you have very kindly asked me, how's retirement? It's great. I'm a little concerned, though, about what I didn't hear in this city of character, devoted to honesty and truth and all of those things. Not once did I hear, you look so much younger in person. Not once did I hear, you look so much thinner than you used to on TV. Most disturbingly, not once in this city of character did one of you come to me and say, you're so handsome. Thank you, bless you. What? Wait a minute. Tyler did? But seriously, I'm very much happy to be here with you this evening. I'm very much appreciative of Steve Lippert reaching out to me many months ago. He and I started this conversation before the electoral season was upon us, and he kept with me through this process to make sure I was updated and to make sure that I knew all that was going on. He introduced me to Mary over lunch, and Sean Qureshi, the young gun, I think was the nickname he gave himself that day. But the folks on his team who have worked with him so hard. And so I'm very much appreciative and thankful and indebted to Steve and all of you who have invited me to be here this evening, and I hope to fulfill your expectations at the very least. I'm also honored to be associated with Kim and Bonnie Nuxall. Now, Kim and I are Facebook friends, and so I get to see his posts on a regular basis. And I have to tell you, I am immensely impressed with Kim and his humanity, and yes, with his character. He could rely on his family name, and what a name that is in this community. But he has charted his own course, in the process adding new and lustrous facets to the jewel that is the Nuxall name in this community. For me, it's an honor to be in the same room and sitting at the same table with Kim and Bonnie Nuxall. Let me take a brief moment to congratulate all of you who will be winning awards and recognition as heroes of character and young citizens of character in this community. You breathe life into the word character. You give it flesh and blood. You are a living, walking, talking example of what it means to have character. And sometimes there's not enough of that. So don't take lightly this honor that this community is bestowing upon you this evening. We are grateful for what you are, what you do, who you are in this community that makes this community as strong as it is. So congratulations to all of you who will be coming up shortly to receive an award. It's not often that I am asked to serve as a keynote speaker. More usually I'm in the MC role. And so this evening I want you to know that I appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts with you around the discussion of character, this most important and yet over-discussed and yet underutilized topic, character. The fact that a civic group has, in these times of self-absorption and self-indulgence in our republic, chosen to promote the outward-looking notion that character is of importance and ought to be transcendent is rare indeed and all the more refreshing. Preparing to speak to you has been a welcome relief from the daily humdrum and an inspiring opportunity to bathe in the waters of human potential when connected to something outside of oneself. Now that's a lot of high-blown rhetoric, and I guarantee you I'm not going to stay on that level this evening, because at heart I'm nothing more than a little old southern boy who is just simple and plain and spent probably just a little bit too much time in church. And you're going to probably hear some of that tonight. But what I'm trying to make clear here in this discussion with you is how rare the discussion of character is, and yet how critical it is to our future as a nation. Individual character and national character are inextricably fused together, so that the lack of one necessarily undermines the development of the other. The lack of both, history has shown us in antiquity as well as in modern times, leads to the deaths of nations. So what then is character? I went to the dictionary and got a functional definition. The particular qualities of a person that make that person distinct, blah, 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 blah. And that's a fine rhetorical skeleton, but there are no real flesh and bones once you get beyond that rhetorical skeleton. So I went looking for something that was just a bit more infused with meaning. And this is what I found. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through the experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. That was from Helen Keller, who I dare say knew just a little something about suffering and the redemptive power of suffering overcome. Then I found this from Walter Anderson. Bad things happen. How I respond to them defines my character and the quality of my life. And then I found Dennis Prager, who said, goodness is about character, integrity, honesty, kindness, generosity, moral courage, and the like. And then he said this, more than anything else, more than anything else, it is about how we treat other people. Then I got it. Then I had my moment of epiphany around character. That's when it all became clear to me. That's when I understood that who we are, the kind of person we are, the things we value, the ways in which we behave, what we say, what we give, what we commit to, what we sacrifice for, what individual actions, habits, and traits define us is driven not by what we have, not by what we spend, not by where we live, certainly not by what we drive, who we love, or what we earn. It is defined quite simply by how we treat other people. And that moment of epiphany, that moment is when I found the hero, the star of the story I want to share with you tonight. He's my living example of what character looks like, of true character. He's a young man I've known for years. I worked with him for a while, but who I really came to know one recent Saturday morning as we sat on a panel to judge a debate competition. A young man I'll call, for the purposes of this discussion this evening, Richard. Here's how Richard got to be the star of this speech. On that Saturday, I asked him about some of the things I had seen Kim on his Facebook page. What I found when I went to his Facebook page was that Richard was mentoring some young people, some young inner city boys, taking them to ball games, taking them on fishing and sports excursions, hanging out with them, going to worship service with them, taking them on college tours. In short, he was a surrogate father to these young inner city kids. And he delighted in these kids and in everything they accomplished as though they were his very own genetic offspring. Having seen that and sitting beside him with a little time to spare, I asked him how he got started with that. And here's what he told me. One day, on his job as a news videographer, he was sitting in his van, waiting to get out and shoot the story that he was there to shoot. As he was sitting there waiting in Mount Auburn, he looked off to one side and there was a playground. And because the weather was nice, on this playground, on that day, there were kids doing what kids do at playgrounds, laughing, swinging, playing, climbing, chasing, having a good time. But in the midst of all of that, there was a shot, and a man fell dead right there in front of that playground where those kids were playing. The kids took off, running in fear for their lives. As a news photographer, he did what he got paid to do. He went around, grabbed his camera, and started shooting the video of that scene and that situation. But even as he was doing that, he saw something happen within minutes of that shooting. The kids, you see, started to come back to the playground. And as they came back, they looked at the body, walked around the body, and kept going in a totally dispassionate manner that suggested that this was not their first rodeo when it came to seeing somebody shot and killed. They went back to playing. Okay, everybody in here will probably think about that picture and that circumstance, and we'll shake our heads wondering at what an environment these kids have to navigate on a daily basis. We'll cluck our tongues at the casual violence in some of our communities. Some of us will offer a prayer for those kids. Some of us will get angry that grown-ups could do such psychic damage to young people. And a calloused few of us will shiver at the very thought of the violence and community disintegration those kids will wreak on society when they themselves grow older. But that's not what Richard did. That day, in that place, having seen what he saw, he made a decision. Not the decision to shoot the video, because that was his job. He made another decision. He decided to do something. He decided that while he might not be able to fix all of those kids, he was going to try to fix at least one. He was going to make a difference for one child. Rather than preach and politic about the social decay that he had just seen, he was going to do what he could to make this world just one kid better. He didn't write a check. He didn't vote for a candidate who promised he or she could fix it. See, that was too sterile. That was too cold. It was too dispassionate. It was too disengaged. It was too unplugged and too uninvolved. No, that's not what he did. Richard went to mentor one kid. He decided to commit time out of his life to build life in someone else in a hands-on, direct way. He decided to positively affect someone else directly. He decided that he was going to build sweat equity into turning around the life of a kid who no one else cared for. So what did he do? He went to church. He went to church in a nearby neighborhood, and he identified himself to the clergyman, and he said, "Let me help." He found one kid that he was going to help. But you know how kids are. That one kid had siblings. That one kid had a friend or two. And the next thing you know, this guy, who was just going to change one kid, who was going to make a difference in just one life, because that was all the bandwidth he thought he had. That was the entire scope of his ability and time availability, or so he thought. But he found himself now with 4 kids. And before he knew it, he was a surrogate father to multiple kids, having taken on new responsibility, living a new and unplanned life, worshiping in a new church that was not the church he grew up in, but that's where the kids were. So he made the commitment to go to them, not wait for them to come to him. And spending time in a new and alien, and for all he knew, hostile community. Now, this wasn't easy. This wasn't easy because, you see, Richard grew up in the suburbs. And he had no idea what life was like in the inner city beyond the lens of his camera. What he did know was he had to do something. Oh, and by the way, Richard is young. Richard is my daughter's age. Richard is in his early 30s. And one more thing. Richard isn't married. Oh, and one more thing. In a nation seething with racial tension and division, where a Pew survey recently showed that 80% of whites have no friend who is a person of color, these kids are black, and Richard from the suburbs is white. Grab onto that as we talk about character. These kids were black, and Richard is white. See, Richard learned his virtues not from TV, not from politicians, not from televangelists, not from talk radio and the trash talkers who inhabit that world. Richard learned to do what he did from his daddy, a former coworker of mine who died just a few years back. But before he died, he put something in that boy. He put courage in that boy to be uncomfortable, perhaps in danger, and to still do the right thing. He put attentiveness in that boy whose eyes opened wide and were willing to see what is ugly and what is hard to look at in our world. He put compassion in that boy, recognizing the humanity of people who don't look like me, who don't see things politically the way I do, who don't worship the way I do, who may not necessarily value the same things that I do, but who nevertheless, when you cut them like you cut me, we all bleed red. He put determination in that boy, willing to expend what it takes to get right things done for the right reason. He put dependability in that boy, personal accountability. You can rely on me. He put endurance in that boy. He put generosity in that boy. I'm not giving of my time, talent, and energy because I expect something back. I'm giving of all of these things generously because it is the right thing to do. It is a thing of character to do because other human beings need it. He put initiative in that boy. I see a problem. I'm not going to wait for permission to act from all of the people who give permission to people to do things. I'm going to do what's right because it is right, and I see the need for right to be done. He put patience in that boy, responsibility in that boy, trustworthiness, and most of all, critical to this conversation, he built tolerance into that boy. I don't have to agree with you to care about you. But of all the character traits that we've mentioned, all the ones in here, and Steve, thank you for giving this to me. This was invaluable and will continue to be so. Of all the character traits that we've mentioned, the one that Richard chose first, the one that I admire, and yes, the one that rebukes me and shames me, is the one that I and many others fail. The first character trait was to take action, was to do something to make it better. All the character traits in the world mean nothing if you can sit at home and watch tragedy after tragedy after tragedy unfold on television news, if you can walk down the street and see tragedy in the form of broken, crushed, aimless, pointless human lives and remain inert, unmoved, untroubled, unaffected, and immune to the suffering of what Jesus called the least of these, my brethren. Because as Dennis Prager said, goodness, more than anything else, goodness, more than anything else, goodness, more than anything else, at the end of the day, is about how you treat other people. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Clyde Gray. Clyde, you look so much younger in person. You look so much thinner than you did on TV, and this just kind of came to me, but you're so handsome. I feel like I was at the feet of the fisherman there for a minute. Huh? Whew. I don't know how we move on from that, but we'll find a way. Thank you, Clyde. That was amazing. Before we go on to hand out tonight's awards, there are a number of finalists who are here with us tonight that we want to take a moment and recognize them and their nominators. So I'm going to read through that list of both the finalist and the nominator. If you would stand until we get to the end of that list, we would appreciate that. And I am an announcer. I am horrible with pronunciations, so I've been running around the room frantically catching as many people as I could. Probably still going to butcher some of these, so bear with me. You can yell at me if I mess it up. That's fine. Sean Leitner, who was nominated by Nancy Ray. Judy Bramstedt, who was nominated by Cherie Craig. Mary Bailey, nominated by Sonia Gabbard. How about this? Sonia Gabbard, nominated by Ivy Schmelzer. I believe it's Lena Philippi, nominated by Lisa Snell. Sean Qureshi, nominated by Steve Lippert. Bree Sambucino, nominated by Jennifer Chast. Sarah Callahan, nominated by Tammy Harris. Elena Yeager, nominated by Julie Mock. And finally, David Coors, nominated by Sue Deemer. How about another round of applause for all of our finalists? Before we move on, I do want to take a moment to thank a couple individuals. First of all, the Courtyard Marriott by Hamilton, who hosted this event. We are, I believe, the first event in this newly renovated space, and it's absolutely beautiful. So a big hand to everybody who helped with that. Thank you. And then also TV Hamilton, hometown television with a personal touch. Steve Caldwell, a good-looking guy behind the camera. TV Hamilton always does such a nice job, and we'll look forward to seeing this both on the station and then for those of you not from the Hamilton area, on TV Hamilton's YouTube channel. It'll be posted there as well. These beautiful awards that you see here on the table next to me were provided by Inside Out Studio on High Street in Hamilton. If you don't know or if you haven't heard about Inside Out Studio, Inside Out is an art studio for developmentally disabled artists. They are given a real art studio to create and sell their artwork, and they've provided all of the awards for our Heroes of Character tonight. So how about a round of applause for all the folks from Inside Out. All right, so we are going to first recognize our youth recipients. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to have all 5 of our recipients come up and stand next to the podium right over here. When I get to you and read your name, you can just stand up here or in front of the podium, and then once we're done, you can cross over this way and grab your award. So if all 5 of our hero recipients will make their way to the podium, those individuals are Logan Baines, Hannah Baker, Hannah Matthews, Brecken McCreary, and Zachary Merrill. All right. We got a good-looking group up here tonight. This is excellent, wonderful. I've got some words to read about each of these fine young individuals. We will start out with Logan Baines. Logan, come on up here, big man. You get to shake Clyde Gray's hand. Get excited. Tell him that he looks younger than he did. Dinner, you got that? Okay, all right. Logan Baines is currently a 6th grade student at Taylor Middle School. His 5th grade year was extremely challenging. A diving accident over the summer left him with very limited movement in his arms and legs. He and his family were suddenly thrust into a handicapped world that no family ever truly prepares for. Logan and his family endured long periods of time in Baltimore for new cutting-edge therapies. After thoroughly testing his endurance, Logan was finally able to experience his first day of school. To say that he exuded joyfulness would be an understatement. He was wheeled through the doors, greeted by cheering friends and classmates to welcome him back to middle school. Guidance counselor from Taylor Middle School, Dave Henderson, one of his nominees, says, Logan's determination and can-do attitude were amazing from the start. Logan was always wanting to do as much as he could for himself, often waving off assistance from others. His enthusiasm to be normal again definitely put a strain on his patience, but he never gave up. His aide would often try to do things for him, and he would insist that he could do it, and eventually he would. From eating lunch without help to wheeling around on the kickball diamond, he was diligent in staying near his friends and in on the action. End quote. Over time, he began to walk with assistance, going longer distances each time he ventured out of his wheelchair. The culminating point of the year was in an awards ceremony when he was able to make his way up on the stage to receive an award without help from anybody. He flew solo. His courage, initiative, and constant attitude of I can do this was an inspiration to everyone. He and his family have had to overcome a very trying phase of their lives, and there may still be struggles, but Logan's positive character qualities will always be a huge part of their success. Another teacher from Taylor Middle School in a nomination letter about Logan, Gail Durstadt, says, everyone around him learned what great determination he had to get better. He had many appointments that took him out of school. He continually worked with physical therapists. But Logan did not waver. His strong spirit was evident each and every day. He stayed very driven, both academically and socially. All of this through his trials during the entire year. Another nominator, Lynn Hinton, said Logan was always willing to work hard and go the extra mile to reach his physical goals, and always with a huge smile on his face. A moment I will never forget is at the end of the year awards ceremony, Logan was able to walk up to the stage and receive his award all by himself. That is a moment I will always hold in my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, our first hero of character, Logan Baines. Our next honoree is Hannah Baker. Hannah, come on up. Now, I want to point out, Hannah is one of the biggest fans of the Hamilton Joes that you have ever heard. I hear it's because they got a really good-looking announcer down there. She's not having any of that. Okay, fine. Her grandparents own the team, that's why. No. But it could be a little bit of the announcer, right? Okay, well. Looks like I'm looking for a new job. All right. Hannah Baker is a participant with the First Tee of Greater Miami Valley, a character-building program that uses golf as a medium to teach life skills. I want to read from the nominator letter that was sent by Michael Wolf. Michael is the head coach for the First Tee of Greater Miami Valley for Hamilton Fairfield. And Michael, in his letter, says, I have been Hannah's coach at the First Tee since she started at the age of 8. During this time, there's been a demonstrative transformation from a shy girl lacking confidence to one who others admire for not only her golf skills, but her determination, integrity, honesty, dependability, sincerity, patience, and self-control. It took Hannah longer than others to move up to the third level, which is the birdie level. She clearly demonstrated a strong desire to excel. However, not being able to pass the final challenge to move to birdie clearly showed a lack of confidence. Her success came from an overwhelming determination to learn, practice, and endure. Once she reached the birdie level, the expectations and challenges were greater. In her first year at this level, she was clearly the player with the highest scores. However, she played every hole out, never giving up. Hannah was careful in keeping her score, even when, to some others, it might seem embarrassing. I've played golf with your grandpa. You need to have that lesson with him. Okay? And probably me too, so I'll admit it. Within 2 years, she went from being the girl with the worst scores to the girl with the absolute best scores. I assure you, the other players noticed what was going on and saw that transformation. One life skill that we teach that she used to create her success is goal setting. Without prompting, this person embraced the concept and used this tool. More than once, she was noticed by others in her self-discipline to follow the action steps of her plan. As Hannah progressed in her golf skills to become a confident and admired golfer by girls and boys that she was golfing with, some things remain constant: humility, sincerity, responsible, and respectfulness. Hannah is one of our players that others gravitate to, never boastful, always welcoming and dependable in a calm way. It is this that others see as sincerity that is appreciated and puts her in demand as playing partner and team member. Jill Grissom, who is Hannah's grandmother, also said in a letter, her studies at school have been a priority for her, keeping herself wanting to achieve the best she can be, but being open enough to ask and accept help when needed. Her high standards for herself also transmit into her being an excellent golfer and cheerleader representing her school, Wilson Middle School. The golf course is a place where we don't always see fine character, but we do in this young lady. Ladies and gentlemen, our next hero of character, Hannah Baker. right, our next award winner, Hannah Matthews. Hadley Watts Middle School 8th grader Hannah Matthews was nominated by her ELA teacher, Jeanette Marshall, for the Heroes of Character Award. The Character Council of Greater Cincinnati in Northern Kentucky chose Hannah as a student who demonstrates outstanding character both inside and outside of the classroom. A quote from her nominator, Mrs. Marshall: "Hannah's greatest gift is respect for herself and for others. I don't think she's even aware of the great impact she has on her peers," said Miss Marshall. Hannah is busy participating in Girls Ensemble Choir and Lunch Buddies. She also serves as a student helper in the Watts Riding Lab and has participated in Centerville Co-Ed Dance Team for 9 years in the following leadership roles: a co-captain of the primary team, a co-captain and captain of the elementary team at 5th and 6th grade levels, and co-captain of the junior team. Additional information that was offered in that letter by Mrs. Marshall. Mrs. Marshall says about Hannah: "Teaching for 28 years, I've had many students touch my heart in many ways that will be with me for a lifetime. Hannah Matthews is one of the students who I will be forever in awe to the outstanding contribution she has made to our school and community. Hannah is the type of student who exhibits herself in an exceptional manner when no one is watching. Our school building houses the multi-handicap unit, and they eat in our mainstream cafeteria. Many of their disabilities require assistance to eat. Hannah gladly volunteers her free time with peers to help out the teachers and the students during this lunch break. Her goal is to give them her bright smile and to maybe bring some sunshine to their day." Mrs. Marshall says, "I could go on about the time she volunteers to help teachers get their rooms ready, making advisory students feel special on their birthdays, and how she will go beyond the normal limits every day. If anyone is a true test of character and selfless love, it is Hannah Matthews." Ladies and gentlemen, our next hero of character, Hannah Matthews. Excellent job. Congratulations. Step right down there. Our next honoree, Brecken McCreary. Brecken McCreary is a 6th grade student at Aurora Elementary School located in Aurora, Indiana. Brecken was born Saturday, August 21st, 2004 in Lawrenceburg to his parents Cameron and Bridget McCreary. Brecken is currently an honor roll student and has received recognition for his efforts and citizenship. Brecken has participated in many activities in sports since he was 5 years old. He loves playing basketball and got his start with the Upward Christian Youth Sports Program. He now plays on his school's elite AAU basketball team. You're in 6th grade? I see why he plays basketball. That makes sense. Brecken was recognized by the Dearborn County Citizens Against Substance Abuse for his science fair project on how drugs affect the body. He currently has 2 kindergarten buddies at his school that he has lunch with every day and is a mentor to. Besides his passion for basketball, Brecken also enjoys spending time with family, playing video games, and swimming. Brecken has expressed a great interest in one day becoming a United States Navy SEAL. Brecken has always exhibited a kind and passionate heart. He always gives 110% in everything he does. One of Brecken's nominators, a teacher, Sonia Gabbard, said, "When I had Brecken in class, he was always the first person to offer help to his classmates. When he played outside, inside, or school sports, he always displayed sportsmanship. He would help players up off the floor. He would apologize if he caused a player to go down. He worked hard to improve his grades. He was always willing to offer advice to his classmates. He would offer to help out new students that would come in throughout the school year. He was always truthful when asked about things that might have happened. Whether or not this involved friends, he would always be truthful about the entire situation." Ladies and gentlemen, our next hero of character, Brecken McCreary. Congratulations, young man. Very impressive. Good luck to you. Our next honoree is Zach Merrill. Zach Merrill, 15, is the oldest son of Matt and Becky Merrill. He was born on June 25th, 2001 in Cincinnati, and lived in Hebron, Kentucky until 2009 when the family moved to Liberty Township. He has a younger brother, Caleb, who's 13, a sister, Peyton, who's 11, and he loves the family dog, Sugar, and cat, Princess. He attended Endeavor Elementary School, Plains Junior High School, and is currently enrolled as a sophomore at Lakota West High School, utilizing the online learning program while undergoing treatment for bone cancer. Zach plans to continue his education at Butler Tech High School to be a part of the criminal justice program and go on to college for a career in law enforcement, specializing in forensics. Zach enjoys all sports, but his passion is wrestling and archery. He started wrestling in the 7th grade and was on the junior varsity team as a freshman. His dream of bow hunting last January was put on hold following his diagnosis, but he plans to utilize his target skills once he's well enough. He attends Center Point Christian Church with his family, where he's volunteered the last 3 years as an assistant small group leader for a group of 11 to 12-year-old boys. Zach's willingness to help others was extended as a volunteer at Hope's Closet, the Father's House, Serve City, and other charities in need through his church. His belief that hard work and helping others begins at home led him to his neighborhood, clearing driveways on snowy winter days where he would shovel for those who could not do it for themselves. And Zach says it's a great way to stay in shape. Zach, you got a lot of people who think a lot of you, and I want to share some of those words with you in this moment. One of Zach's nominators, Debbie Bailey, says about Zach, "His course of therapy has not come without setbacks, yet his faith has not wavered. He wrote a thank you note to me at the end of the school year in 2016, thanking me for my help in keeping him on track with his online learning, as well as earlier in the year when he was in a normal course of study. He's determined to share his experience with others so they can get through a tough situation by writing a book to help other cancer patients. With each setback, he remains focused that God is good and that he will be recovered someday to meet this goal." Another nominator, Bob Gelter, says in several meetings with Zach and his parents, Zach has never lamented over his circumstances. Rather, he's displayed a positive attitude and an optimistic outlook towards his education and moving forward. Lakota West teacher Jason French says, "When Zach was diagnosed with cancer last year, it was clear that many students thought of him as a close friend and someone they could look up to. Even when Zach was no longer able to come to school due to his treatments, he still made an effort to stay in touch with students here to check in on them and make sure they were doing okay." And finally, an English teacher from Lakota West, Tracy Kleeman, says, "Zach Merrill is the standard by which all other students should be judged. Each day that I tutored Zach, he would struggle with the fog created by his chemotherapy. He would doggedly shake his head to clear his thinking and refocus himself once more on the task at hand. Many teenagers distance themselves from the foundations of their childhood so they can gain stature in the eyes of their peers. Not so with Zach. His unguarded discussions about what his family and his church family meant to him were without guile or pretense. Showing his gratitude and his connections to those he loved were paramount to Zach. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you our next hero of character, Zach Merrill." Who needs television? We can just do this every night. Don't you just feel better? No offense, Clyde. Sorry. You're retired, so. Just upset my best friend, Clyde Gray. Oh, man. Whew, got nervous. Yeah. Wait, where'd that sheet go? You look thinner than you did on TV. Yeah, okay. I'll get you back. Okay, thank you. All right. All right, so now it is my honor to bring up our adult award winners. So if I can have to the podium, Dr. Susan Bain, John Lazarus, Linda O'Connor, there's a lot of paper up here, folks. We're not going paperless on this stand. Brenda Schwering. And finally, Kathy Wagenfield. Our first honoree is Dr. Susan Boehm. Dr. Susan Boehm grew up in Washington State. She graduated from Washington State University, home of the Cougars. She completed the Washington State, look at the Cougars. Give it to him one more time, Dr. Boehm. That was good. I like that. That's good. She completed the Washington State Honors Program as part of her undergraduate degrees in English and mathematics before she began her teaching career on the Colville Indian Reservation in Cooley Dam, Washington for several years. Following a move to Cincinnati, Dr. Boehm taught mathematics on Miami University's Hamilton campus for 7 years. In 1992, she moved to Minnesota and became active in the area of marketing research at Honeywell Incorporated while earning her MBA in marketing and operations from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. In 1999, Dr. Boehm returned to Miami University, joining the faculty in the Business Technology, now Commerce, department on the Middletown campus. In 2007, Dr. Boehm earned her PhD in Organization and Management from Capella University, and last year, Dr. Boehm was promoted to the rank of full professor of commerce. Dr. Boehm has maintained a career-long focus on meeting the educational needs of her students with a focus on those who come from non-traditional backgrounds and those who are returning to school after time on the workforce. She is the recipient of Miami University's Service Learning Ambassador Award and is a 2015 recipient of AK Steel's Steel Magnolia Award, both related to her strong service commitments in the region. Dr. Boehm is the founder and host of the Knowledge Cafe, a community partnership organization focused on increasing leadership innovation and social media skills for small business owners and entrepreneurs in southwestern Ohio. She is the author of numerous publications on advanced customer satisfaction measurements, teaching techniques for undergraduate business courses, and social media technologies for the business community. Dr. Boehm had a letter submitted by her husband, Michael Boehm. You want to do the cougar thing too? She did. Yeah, hers was better, but you're getting there, right? What a wonderful letter this was. Let me share some of these moments from this letter with you. First, from her earliest days in the math department at Hamilton, Susan worked diligently to reduce math anxiety in her students, whether they were fresh out of high school or older returning students needing a career change. Susan found unique ways to reach out and make this broad spectrum of students feel welcome and included. She held countless Sunday afternoon help sessions where she would invite students into our home to share their questions, get answers, and relax a bit with something nice to drink. Most unique, however, was her approach to rewarding students for a job well done on exams. At the start of each semester, Susan would have each student write down his or her favorite soft drink on a card. When graded exams were to be returned, Susan would line up 4 cans of soda on her desk, corresponding to the preferences of the students with the 4 highest scores. As each name of a winner was announced, the student would come up to claim his or her can of pop. The looks of pride and accomplishment were beyond belief, and years after taking her classes, students would see her on campus or within the community and comment on how much that simple gesture had built their confidence, and that they still had the now empty pop cans as proof that they could master anything. Susan goes well beyond the norm in helping her students navigate the educational process from start to finish. Recognizing that online learning can be hard to master for students more accustomed to a conventional classroom, Susan offers pre-semester walkthroughs of her courses where online learners can meet her in person, discuss the course, and get tips and insights to help their transitions to online learning proceed smoothly. Susan cares deeply about her students' ultimate success in the workplace. Beyond the customary letters of recommendation, she frequently helps her students with resumes, interviewing skills, and establishing contacts in the community. What really sets this effort apart from the norm, however, is how her students have come to rely on her for career advice and counseling years after graduation. It is far from unusual to find her sharing a cup of coffee and some solid advice with a student who she had in class 10 or more years ago. They never forget Dr. Bain, and she is always there to help. On a humorous note, all that she ever expects is for her students to take her out to a nice meal whenever they become successful, as they personally define it. As one might expect, Susan has had some mighty fine meals over the years. I am lucky enough to work at Miami University, and I am also lucky enough to have met many students who think very, very, very highly of this teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Susan Bain. It's not just me. It's taken everything in me not to jump in that picture right now. Our next honoree is John Lazarus. Mr. Lazarus has been involved in education for 40 years. He's married to his wife, Tricia Lazarus, and has a daughter, Eleni Lazarus, and son, Gus Lazarus. Mr. Lazarus is the founder of the Warren County Alternative School. The school has been named in his honor as the John K. Lazarus Alternative School. It received the Ohio Best Practice Award in 1999 and 2000, and the Seeds of Change Best Practices Award in 2000 as well. He created the Warren County Virtual Learning High School and founded the Severe Emotional Disturbance Program. As superintendent of the Warren County MRDD, he took the agency from non-accreditation status to a 3-year accreditation from the Ohio Department of MRDD. Mr. Lazarus was elected to the State Teachers Retirement System as a board member, and I will point out he was the first non-teacher elected to the STRS board. Mr. Lazarus has received several community involvement awards. He was the winner of the Outstanding Educator Award from the University of Cincinnati, the Ohio Department of Education Innovative Programs Award, the Martin Luther King Jr. Award for Outstanding Community Service in Cincinnati, the National School Public Relations Award of Honor, appointed an honorary Butler County Sheriff's Deputy, the Commission of the Human Relations Award from the African American community in Hamilton. A friend and former colleague, his nominator, Dustin Goldie, says in a letter, Mr. Lazarus has had a huge impact on me as an educator. I'm a veteran of the 14 years at the Kings Local School District. I met Mr. Lazarus in 2002. Mr. Lazarus went out of his way when I was a first-year teacher to introduce himself as the Warren County Superintendent. From that day, our friendship grew, and he became my mentor as an educator. I reached out to him several times during my teaching career for advice, and each time he helped me with educational philosophy, character education, and educational stories. One of the things that always impressed me was Mr. Lazarus's ability to overcome adversity due to physical obstacles. He volunteered to be the interim superintendent for the Kings Local School District in the fall of 2014. He did this while overcoming major surgery and working for a salary of $1. He wanted to help our district during a difficult time with major turnover and change. Working for $1 shows his character and his ambition to help students and teachers.
Pretty stupid.
I might love you more than Clyde Gray now. Where was I? Yeah, you're down here somewhere, right? Yeah. You're still making more than me working this thing, so it's right. I'm telling you, folks, sometimes when you do these events, there are sometimes where you just get cracked up to the point where you can't talk. This is one. I'm trying to pull it together. All right, here we go. Mr. Lazarus may be retired, but he continues to help countless former students, teachers, administrators, and community members with advice on educational issues. His message is always the same: treat people with respect and build lasting relationships with them. Ladies and gentlemen, John Lazarus. Mr. Lazarus is, well, an original Hamiltonian, worked at Wilson Middle School. Always nice to have him back. Our next, I'm telling you, that was priceless. TV Hamilton better have me a copy of this. That was good. Our next hero of character, Linda O'Connor. Yeah, I know. Did you ever work for 50 cents? Oh, yeah. Good point. Good point. Just don't make me laugh while I'm up here doing this. See what happens. Linda is a highly active community advocate who recognized critical needs within the Westchester Liberty Townships and took steps to address those needs. Linda is a third-term elected board member with the Lakota Local School District and has served on the Butler Tech Board for 5 years. The pockets of need that Linda recognized became the driving force behind founding the Caring Community Collaborative, C3, a nonprofit bringing together community resources to address concerns such as mental health, substance abuse, and food shortages among needy families. Linda currently serves as president and chairman of the C3 board and as vice president of the Faith Alliance in addition to her school board responsibilities. Linda's dedication to her community has led her to serve on the boards of the WCL Chamber Alliance, Faith Alliance, Partners in Prime, the Ohio School Board Association, the Boy Scouts Dan Beard Council, Westchester Liberty Character Council, the Ohio Superintendent of Education Parent Advisory Council, the Kiwanis Club of Westchester Liberty, and you got a lot of stuff. How do you do all this? And the WCPO Community Advisory Board. Ooh. You're not the reason he retired, are you? Yeah. Around the same time. Linda has volunteered for the Butler County United Way, the Boys and Girls Club of Westchester, and is a member of the WCL Chamber and the Union Center Business Merchants Association. She and her husband own a small business startup in Westchester as well. I've got a number of letters here that I want to read some excerpts from, the first of which is from Joseph Hinson, who says about Linda, Linda has been invaluable to the Westchester Liberty Chamber Alliance as a member and volunteer leader. And he also says, as the architect and leader of C3, Linda is making a difference in our community. Another nominator, Ronald, is it Rolfing? Rolfing says, Miss O'Connor always leads with integrity and a higher calling to serve others in our communities. She has inspired the best in others, which is demonstrated with C3's continued growth and purpose on a shoestring budget. Her team members are motivated by her tireless efforts, her late-night email responses, her ability to engage others while holding herself and others accountable. Ms. O'Connor has grown this fledgling nonprofit while simultaneously serving in many other community capacities. He also says Ms. O'Connor personally motivates me and models how to be a greater community member and helps me want to contribute to the greater good of others by her tireless dedication. She has been both a role model and mentor of public service that has enriched my life and countless others. She consistently takes the high road of acting with respect and integrity to all, no matter what the circumstances may be. Bill Lendl says of Linda, years ago, Bill and his daughter Anna were talking about our dreams, our plans, and the people we admired. It was one of those unpredictable moments of truth. I knew Linda O'Connor was important when my daughter Anna awarded her the title only reserved for the very best, Sassy. Linda is sassy. Linda is our hero. And that very same daughter, Anna Lindell, says Linda oftentimes puts the community's needs before her own and receives backlash or little praise in return. As president of the Lakota School Board, she sometimes has to make the unpopular decisions because it's what she believes is the right thing to do. Linda's a leader. She's praised little when things are going right and heavily criticized when things are going wrong. I brought this up with Linda at a Christmas party as I was feeling worn down as a leader in my own life. I knew that Linda would understand. I can't remember verbatim what Linda said, but it was something along the lines of, yes, it can be difficult, but we have to keep going every day. I could tell the year had also been weighing on Linda too. I was getting a little choked up during our brief interaction, and I believe I saw water behind Linda's eyes as well. However, that's what's so incredible about Linda. She has an internal strength that keeps her going in the face of adversity and inspires others to continue pushing on too. And Christine Matasic says about Linda, I first met Linda right after she had been elected to the Lakota Local School Board in 2009. At the time, the owner of a local restaurant was upset about her business being blackballed by some Lakota PTAs because of a misunderstanding over a school levy issue. After my initial questioning of the business owner, I realized I needed someone from the Lakota Local School Board to be a voice of reason and help solve the dilemma. Linda was the individual I felt would provide that voice. A meeting was immediately arranged with Linda, myself, and the business owner. Ms. O'Connor took a proactive role in gathering the facts, working with the Lakota local schools in respect for this business person. She handled it discreetly and with the utmost urgency. That first encounter made a lasting impression and went on to predict the ways in which Linda has handled countless challenging situations since, with attentiveness, with respect, and above all, with a spirit of collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, our next hero of character, Linda O'Connor. Congratulations. Very well deserved. Very well deserved. Our next honoree, Brenda Schwering. Brenda is the school counselor at Milan Elementary School, or if y'all want to get fancy, Milan Elementary School. That was how I was going to say it earlier, and she's like, no, it's Milan. Milan Elementary School, a position she has held for nearly 20 years. Prior to serving as the counselor, she was a teacher at Milan. Brenda has served in many leadership roles at the school, planning school-wide programs that emphasize good character throughout the entire community. She's been instrumental in planning the community-wide Character Counts Week for the last 2 years. Brenda exhibits true professionalism, a student-first approach, and a commitment to caring which brings out the best in each and every person. She counsels individual students, leads many groups ranging in topics from study skills, dealing with divorce, and social skills. She teaches monthly classroom lessons focused on character counts traits. She leads lunch and learn lessons to offer engaging mini lessons to students while they eat lunch. Ms. Schwering also supervises many school-wide leadership groups, including the Chieftains, a group of 5th graders serving in a role similar to a student council, the Peacemakers, a group of 4th graders leading anti-bullying efforts, and the Caring Character Club, a group of 4th graders leading character traits, and a homework club that meets after school. Brenda, one of your nominators, Jane Rogers, submitted a letter, and in that letter, Jane says, one of the reasons that Brenda is so successful is that our parents and our community trust her. She works with individual parents, sharing ideas and tips to help them with issues they are experiencing at home. She often shares personal accounts of her family as she empathizes with their concerns. Brenda and her husband are also raising a son with special needs. She helps others see the positives and empowers families because she is living a similar situation right alongside them. She has held group sessions to help parents learn proper parenting skills that will carry over for their child's success at school. Oftentimes, this outreach continues for more than just a few meetings, and she makes connections that positively impact many families for years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, our next hero of character, Brenda Schwering. Congratulations. Very well.
Doing a fabulous job tonight.
Thank you. And our final award recipient is Kathy Wagenfield. Okay. If we can cry together, it'd be all right, okay? I've been on the verge of tears almost all night, so if we break down on this last one, it's okay, okay? How can anyone begin to pay tribute to or explain Kathy Wagenfield's impact on her school or community? As principal of Ridgeway Elementary School, Kathy leads her staff by example with tremendous integrity and respect. She rallies staff and students in an atmosphere that's fun, promotes learning, and shows compassion and charity in the school, community, and beyond. Her kindness and generosity know no bounds. She took it upon herself to organize a complete home renovation for a family in need. Within a few short weeks, this family was given the greatest gift anyone could ever wish for, a safe, clean home. She also saw to it that the family had a wonderful Christmas. She's not stopped there as she continues to help this family on their journey to a better life. Under her leadership, Ridgeway has received 2 promising practice awards for unique and specific strategies in character education. She helps organize the annual Relay for Life, which supports the American Cancer Society, and is able to rally her staff to participate in this local event. She supports the Empty Bowls project in her school that shows compassion for those less fortunate who have little or no food. The yearly proceeds benefit both Shared Harvest Food Bank and the Open Door Pantry. Kathy encourages her students and staff in academics as well as high values and standards. She's an example to all with her willingness to accept challenges and make changes in people's lives. She brings out the best in everyone with encouragement and praise. Kathy lives by her motto, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Her nominator, Melinda Caswell, says in a letter, "Kathy Wagenfield is more than just a principal. She is a woman who cares deeply for her entire community. She's a leader and ambassador for those all around her, students, teachers, those in need, and friends. She is a beacon in our community and in every way deserves this honor." Ladies and gentlemen, our final hero of character, Kathy Wagenfield. Congratulations. Excellent work. Keep it up. Keep it up. And ladies and gentlemen, how about one last round of applause for all of our heroes of character? Congratulations on this recognition. In leaving you, I want to say one thing. One of my heroes of character has always been Mr. Rogers. And I am one of the people who believes that everything I needed to learn in life, I probably could have learned from an episode of Mr. Rogers. And one of his favorite sayings is an old Quaker quote that says, "Attitude and character are caught, not taught." And I hope that today we can all leave this dinner realizing that as much as we talk about character and as much as we try to make that a focus of our lives, unless we model it after we leave this facility, no one will catch the message that we've tried to send. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having fun with me tonight. Really appreciate it. Please enjoy the rest of your night.